Hello and welcome to this episode of CXO Cafe, a series of learning interactions with CIOs and technology leaders on various aspects of workplace trends for the new norm. I'm Anil Chopra, VP Research and Consulting at CyberMedia Research and your host for this episode. In this episode, we're going to be discussing enhancing workplace potential in the new normal. Now, as we all know, that the pandemic has been difficult for every industry, but manufacturers have possibly been the most heavily impacted. They need manpower on the shop floor to keep their business running. They have to deal with supply chain disruptions. They have to deal with labor shortages, logistics issues, importing raw materials from other pandemic hit nations, just to name a few. And despite all this, they must ensure that all interactions continue to happen smoothly between employees, customers, vendors, and their partners. How can they empower these interactions between different stakeholders? And what collaboration tools really become critical to bring people together in a borderless work environment? And what are the best practices to follow to enable a hybrid work environment? So we'll be discussing all this and many other things in this episode. And for this, we have with us Oye Balasubramaniam, who is the Managing Director for Rootscast Private Limited and Senior VP IT at Roots Group of Companies. Just to give a quick introduction, Roots Industries was established in 1970 and is the flagship company of the Roots Group. It produces, its products are used by some of the most well-known respected automobile brands. The company has manufacturing facilities in India, Malaysia, Russia, and has offices across the world. The company manufactures a wide range of electric and electronic horns, backup alarms for passenger vehicles, off-road vehicles, and over time, the group has established many more units to manufacture a range of other products like halogen bulbs, disc brake pads, brake shoes, clutch plates, and so on. Oye Balasubramaniam, who's also fondly called OAB by his close acquaintances, has a demonstrated history of working in the automotive industry with skills in operations management of leading aluminum, die casting, and plastic injection molding companies. OAB has strong analytical skills, strategic planning, business development, and customer relationship management. Welcome to CXO Cafe OAB. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you.
OAB, I think the outbreak of the pandemic, led to a sudden shift to the work from home culture. And this was perhaps the most difficult thing for manufacturers because they had to have physical presence of manpower on the shop floor to keep their business running. What were some of the top challenges that you faced during this time?
During this time, getting employees to the work is a major challenge, as you already indicated. And once we bring those employees to the plants, medical and healthcare, those people will be a very important one. That is a very big challenging one. And many times commuting from their home to the workplace also becoming a big challenge because in those days commuting was not allowed generally. So only by permission we have to bring the people. So commuting was a very big challenge. And after coming inside, security has become a very big problem for us because people were feared. They have a fear whether I will be safe or not. So and for us also protecting those employees is a prime important motive for us. So security in terms of protecting the people from the infection is a big challenge in those days actually. And even if you are giving protection, they may not believe. So we have to give confidence to them actually. So you are safe and we are taking all the measures and you are safe in our hands, in our premises. So that is very, very important one. But with all these things, in those days, vaccinations were not available freely. So only very few people were vaccinated. We started vaccinating those people with our connects and influences. So we brought healthcare people and we brought vaccines. So these are the few challenges we faced during the time actually.
Yes, I'm sure. Yeah, it must have been a really difficult time for you at that time.
True.
So how have interactions with your customers, partners, and vendors really changed during this pandemic? And what have been the challenges in trying to make the most of such interactions?
Yeah, you have asked the apt question because after employees, the interaction between the customers and partners and vendors are the very big challenge because I am heading a die casting industry where interaction has to happen between OEMs and us very frequently. because each and every casting is a separate product itself. We are not making products actually. If it is a product, possibly we can sell it actually. So it is not like that. So every component is a project. We are making about say about 500, 600 components. So all these things are individual projects. So this is very important one. So we took online video conferencing is a very important tool. So we tried those things, and during that time, so we shared the screens, and through collaborative tools we were doing that. And connectivity is also very important one. And many times, for example, we are exporting a lot to Europe. So sometimes the connectivity from our side or from their side, there will be a problem. And we are mostly dealing with Italy, Belgium, in those areas, except very few people, the design level people, down the line people, they may not know 100% English. They are not very fluent in English. Even their correspondence also, it will be not that good. So language is becoming a problem for them when we are interacting. If they are in person, they can show in hand, they can through gestures, they can do something, and they can pinpoint certain things. But through video conferencing, when we are doing the audio conferencing, so language also becoming a problem for us. So these are the challenges we faced actually.
Right. I'm sure then when you're dealing with so many countries, you are going to have such kind of barriers, language and connectivity and all that. So what has been IT's role to enable people to really work from anywhere during this time and enable business continuity? And moreover, when we look at employees, how did you really look at maximizing employee productivity in such an environment?
Yeah, as you have already indicated, I am taking care of IT also for the whole group. We are having about 3,000 plus employees. So IT plays a major role in this crucial pandemic time. There is no doubt about that. So the challenges are we may be having a regular hardware. When we are making the people work from home, we need a better hardware. So that is very important one. And we need a better connectivity. See, most of the time when the people are working from home, they may be working in, they may be staying in villages where the connectivity will very poor, and that becomes a very big challenge actually. And collaboration tools online, these things has to be provided. So IT plays a major role in providing a better hardware, better connectivity, and collaboration tools, which is going to be online. And above all these things, we have to take care of the security of the data, whatever they are dealing. For example, all the components are OEM components. So we are having security issues. We are having, we have to have a very strong, then we cannot afford to have any infiltration. So we have to protect those data. Those things are very important. Sometimes when we are reaching our employees to their home to give our hardware to work from home, we are surprised to know that the electrical line itself is not that good to take care of these computers. We provided UPS, we provided sometimes earthing also not good actually sometimes. These are the IT challenges and these are the things we faced it actually. Of course, we cannot provide everything, but we provide UPS, hardware, connectivity, everything we have done it actually. So this is the IT challenges. And through that only we were able to get maximizing the productivity, whatever they are able to do that. Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, you're right. I mean, these challenges are there, and IT has to face these challenges. And one thing's for sure, when you're providing all these equipment to people to work from home and all that, the pandemic is currently really forced us to adopt a hybrid workplace environment. So once it's all over and things kind of return to normal, what changes do you think will be permanent, and what do you think is going to return to the same old pre-pandemic days?
Okay. See, work from home for a manufacturing company was unimaginable some time back, but we were forced to bring to that kind of culture. Manufacturing area and related area definitely will return back. Work from home for manufacturing, production, logistics in those areas. I don't think it is possible. Anything cannot be done. Maybe some parts of building and all those things can be done. But most of the areas, more than 70%, we cannot do it from home. That has to return 100%. There is no doubt about that. And people also will be comfortable coming back. Whereas most of the IT, part of HR, part of engineering department, part of marketing department can be hybrid. For example, marketing people, they can be nearer to the market rather than from home or from the office. So that can be partially, they can be there actually once in a week or once in 2 days or once in 3 days, they can come and they can give the reports or whatever the information they want, they can take it and they can go back. So I feel that marketing at least 1/4 or 1/5 they can come to the office. The rest of the time they can be in the field or from the home itself they can do marketing, because our marketing strategy also becoming more digital than the conventional marketing. So those are the areas. For example, HR also they can typically 50% they can be there, and engineering, finance, all those things are possible to an extent possible. And many times it helps us actually. They can be their own, instead of taking leave, they can do some work for few hours and they can continue their work. So in terms of availability of those employees, it is better in many ways in certain areas. So these are the areas I think even after everything is becoming normal, we can allow few of these areas. So it is for the betterment of both for us as well as to the employees. In fact, sometime back we were keeping, not really now, but sometime back we were keeping Monday as our weekly holiday even for the whole company. The advantage was we were thinking, so Monday during a working day, they can go for their personal work so that they can spend any other of their important works, and they can be here on Sundays also. So like that, we can extend work from home wherever is possible. So these are the areas we can think about that.
Very well said. I think production cannot afford to work from home. They have to return to office and return to the shop floor. And they don't have any choice. But many of the other functions can work in a hybrid mode, as you rightly said. So in this time, what collaboration tools now will become a part and parcel of your work to bring all these people together? And now that we actually, if we look at it, we have a borderless work environment that is actually building up. Some people who can work from home, some people who have to come to the shop floor, so people can work from anywhere. So what collaboration tools do you think will become a part and parcel of your work?
Yeah, so we were using mainly the video conferencing tools from various vendors. The two tools we were using mainly. One is video conferencing kind of tool. The next one is a project management software, whatever we use. So earlier we were not using video conferencing tool at all. For example, Microsoft Teams or Google Teams, whatever it is, Zoom or whatever it is. We were not used to it actually earlier. Only some vendors, they will be coming us asking for some clarification or connectivity issues, something like that. But for a business purpose or interaction, we were not using it. And project management software, we were using it only for project purpose. But whereas now during this pandemic time, these two tools were very much used among all the almost all the employees who are doing work from home. So these are the major tools we were using it actually.
Okay, wonderful. I think obviously since you've used many of these tools now, you've become accustomed to them. You understand how they work.
Very true.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm sure that there must be some challenges also that you must have identified and you must be facing while enabling remote collaboration with all these tools. So in terms of those challenges and all, what would now be your expectations from IT to be really able to resolve them?
So as I've already indicated, good collaboration tool is a very, very important. That is a prime one, without which nothing can be done. So that is very, very important one. And we are talking about connectivity. Just connectivity is also not sufficient. Proper speed should be there actually. Proper connectivity, proper speed. And there should not be any compromise on security. So data, if it is leaking, it will become a very big problem for the business actually. So security, no compromise security, it should be there actually. And above all that, 100% privacy should be there. So these are the main points I foresee from the IT. And we got to strengthen the, there are a lot of other components are there, but again, these are the 4 points I feel it is very, very important when we are doing a remote collaboration. These are the challenges we faced actually.
Data security and privacy would be key challenges
True.
that you would need to resolve.
Yeah.
So thanks, Loebi. Last question, and possibly you could also sum up and maybe add a few more other points also, is that now that you have kind of been through this and enabled remote collaboration, enabled remote teams to work together, what are the best practices that organizations should follow for enabling a hybrid work environment, something that can maximize output from this kind of flexible workforce? What are some of your views on that?
Okay, Anil, see, the best practices, whatever we have done so far, it is not enough when we are continuing this for a long time. So we were giving work from home, and sometimes we are asking them to come over here once the pandemic is over. But again, permanently we have to think about a hybrid model, and that will be a apt thing for both employees and as well as the employer. And when we are thinking about a hybrid model, it is more complicated than the fully remote on. That's what I feel. When it is 100% remote, we can give an SOP, we can give connectivity, everything is okay. Sometimes when he is coming and meeting with the other peer group inside the campus and all those things. So hybrid model is the ideal one, but slightly complicated than the fully remote one, but we have to plan for that. So that is going to be the best practice. It is going to be the best practice. There's no doubt about that. And we have to strike an ideal balance between everything, security, privacy. Of course, there is no compromise on those things, but again, we have to strike an ideal balance. See, for example, when we started monitoring these employees, there are people who are having some software capturing the screens and capturing their movement, whether they are working or not. All those things we are not believing all those things. We have to believe our people actually. So we have to strike a balance between monitoring certain things and work actually. And we were talking about security. By design, the security should be there. That is what very important one. And we have to, whatever we are going to implement, security by design, we have to try to implement. And of course, when we are thinking security by design, private by default also has to come to our mind. Without privacy, we cannot open everything. And we have to trust our employees. That's what I was telling. We have to trust our employees and avoid micromanagement. And that only will be working in the long term. Otherwise, people will be losing their confidence and they will not have a comfortable work actually. But mainly, employees end up feeling disconnected from the organization and their colleagues when they are made to work from home. That's what I was telling. We have to have a hybrid model. So that is going to be a best practice, I think, when we are allowing. If nothing like people are coming inside, there is no doubt we are working like that only. But again, after seeing this pandemic, after seeing these kind of changes, we feel that in many areas we are having better results when people are working from home. Sometimes out of curiosity, out of their own interest, they are working even on Sundays also. See, when they are sitting the home ideally, they want to work. In fact, many areas we were able to get more productivity than they are working in the office. In office, when they are coming by 9 o'clock, they will be leaving by 5:30. Within the time, whatever is possible, they are doing it. But in their home, when the creativity level also slightly increasing. Only thing is when they are interacting, they are getting some other information. So many times the shift to home had boosted their productivity, and we get a lot of cost savings also. There is no doubt about that when the number goes up. And of course, we have to take care of the culture and performance of the organization. When newly joined people, when they are making them to work from home, they are not adapted to our culture. So they are not able to understand what kind of culture we are having. So that is a problem. So, and these are the areas we have to consider, and we have to take as a benchmark, and we have to take it as a best practices, and we have to follow it. The main prime thing is we have to trust our employees, and we should not do the micromanagement. That's what I feel.
Very well said, OAB. I think according to a recent CMR survey also, which we did, and we were comparing the first 2 waves of the pandemic, micromanagement came out as one of the biggest challenges you know, that employees are facing. Sometimes they feel that they're being micromanaged, and the same thing happened with new joinees also. So I think you know, you've exactly said you know, right, and this is actually syncing with a lot of the studies that, you know, the findings that we've had in our studies also. So very well said, and I think some really good insights on striking the right balance, security, privacy for employees. I think that all will actually go a long way in helping you know, enhance productivity and maximize output from the employees, which you yourself have said that, you know, you witnessed in case of some of the employees.
True.
So right. So thanks a lot, OAB. I think it was great to have you. Thank you for joining us and sharing your insights. It has been a real pleasure to do this interaction with you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Anil. In fact, I have to thank you because we were seeing quite often some time back. Now we are not seeing. It gives an opportunity for me to share my thoughts, and it is a learning process also for me. Thank you, Mr. Anil, for taking. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's all we have for you today. We hope you enjoyed watching this episode of CXO Cafe and found it interesting and useful. We will be back again soon with more interesting chats around other aspects of workplace trends in the new normal. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching CXO Cafe and see you again soon.